All right, so I'm back in a cruise robotaxi, and apparently it doesn't know what time it is because it thinks I'm going to get dropped off at 6:45. But unlike the last time that I was here a few months ago, when I got in the car, this time it picked me up right just a couple hundred feet from my hotel, where I requested the ride, which is much better. It didn't have to walk 6 or 7 blocks to get it, but it did take quite a long time. It took about 27 minutes from the time I requested the ride until the car actually showed up, because I had to drive quite a long ways and took a very convoluted route to get around. But so far, it seems to be going pretty smoothly. We'll see how well this goes. And this time I'm alone in the car. We'll see what happens. So I made a wide turn there to avoid a pedestrian. As usual, it's taking a rather less than direct route from point A to point B. We're actually heading, at the moment, in the opposite direction from where we want to go. Let's see how Dragonfly does driving through the middle of Austin. I've had the chance to ride in quite a few different robotaxis over the years, and at least in these cruise robotaxis, despite the problems that they've had, waiting for a pedestrian to cross here. Not quite sure why it made such a wide turn there. It was rather strange. But despite all the problems these have had with causing traffic backups and blocking emergency vehicles and assorted other things, I've never actually had any of those kinds of problems when I've been riding. And I've generally felt pretty safe, although, as I said, they do some peculiar things sometimes. Like that last turn, it was a right-hand turn and made a particularly wide turn for no apparent reason. There's another one right there. See how it handles this upcoming left turn at the next street. One more street. Ooh. This odd one. It brakes there all of a sudden and then sped back up again, even though there was nothing there. Long lights here sometimes, even when there's no traffic around. Interesting. So seems to be that these last two turns it's made, it's gone straight for the lane where it wants to end up. So in this case, it's turning left, and instead of turning into the near lane, turned onto a two-way street. Instead of turning into the closest lane and then moving over to the right-hand lane, it went straight for the right lane. And I think it seems like it did the opposite thing on the previous turn, where it turned right, where it went straight for the leftmost lane, presumably because it knew it was going to be turning left. But there was quite a long ways, quite a few blocks before it actually had to make that left turn. Let's see what it does at this next turn, this next right turn, in a couple of blocks here. State Capitol, I think. So I said, the last time I was here in the robotaxi, the screens weren't working. Had to use the app to control everything. This time, at least the displays are working. If I felt the need to end the ride prematurely, I could tap on the end ride button here. I can also go to the settings here, change the temperature. And change the screen brightness. I think the drop-off time is actually going to be 8:44. It's apparently this car is still set to Pacific time rather than Central time, as it is here in Austin. So we got a right-hand turn here. Let's see how it handles this right-hand turn. Let's see if it goes all the way to the leftmost lane right away. It's a wee bit slow. There we go. Okay, so this time it turned into the closest lane, the rightmost lane first, and then switched lanes. A little bit inconsistent in its behavior. Can also turn on the radio here if I want. Get some music or some talk radio. I'm going to leave that off for now. I can figure out how to get back. There goes another one of the cruise vehicles. So Cruise won't say exactly how many vehicles they've got operating here on any given night in Austin. They have said in the past that in San Francisco they have as many as 100 vehicles operating concurrently. Let's see how it handles this left-hand turn. Okay, so it went straight for the rightmost lane. But I think here in Austin, there's far fewer vehicles. I think there's probably fewer than 10 carrying passengers on any given night. There's another one of the Cruise robotaxis there. Can't tell if there's passengers in it or not. So far, generally, aside from that one spot there where it suddenly slowed down a little bit for no apparent reason, this ride has been relatively uneventful, which is what you want in one of these vehicles. You don't really want any excitement. You just want to get safely to your destination. Now, how convenient is it right now? Not very, because there's not really enough vehicles to provide a good level of service here in Austin. It's really more of a proof of concept here. Well clear of that scooter. That's good. Unlike a certain other self-described full self-driving system, this one at least never seems to take aim at things that it shouldn't be doing. It shouldn't be going off to apparently trying to hit anything. Apparently Cruise is doing some testing here in Austin with its Origin purpose-built robotaxis. This is one of the older Chevy Bolt based vehicles, so it's a heavily modified Chevy Bolt with all the sensors and compute on it. As you can hear the fan in the back here for the computer. There's quite a bit of compute hardware back here generating a fair bit of heat in the back, so it needs a lot of cooling. But once the Origin, which is designed from the ground up as a robotaxi, gets approved by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, then Cruise will eventually start to roll those out into its fleet to do commercial operations. They're not ready to do that yet. They haven't got approval. They're doing some testing with those vehicles, but they haven't actually got it running yet. There's now actually several AV companies operating here or at least testing here in Austin. In addition to Cruise, there's also Waymo and Mobileye and Volkswagen working together. They're testing here. Neither of those are doing commercial rides yet, or even consumer, even free paid rides. Waymo will probably be the next one to do that. And then there's also another company that
We're arriving soon. Please stay buckled up until we stop and grab all your things.
Another company I heard about today that will hopes to be testing here in Austin in the not too distant future, but they're not ready to announce anything publicly yet. Yeah, so we stopped for this car that was backing out of the parking space. Nice and smooth. No jerkiness on the stop. Let's see where it pulls up here for my drop off. Saw the pedestrian there, slowed down when it realized that that person was not going to cross the street. Then it kept going. And here we are. We reached our destination.
We arrived.